Alrighty, this video is going to be a little bit different. We're going to look at how I got into the RPG genre and what were the defining moments and titles for me. This is my RPG journey. Also, let me know how it all started for you in the comments below. It all started for me when I was about 8 years old. I was having a sleepover at a friend's place, who I'm going to call Bob. Seriously, back then, this was the guy to know. He had all the cool games. He was also the first person I knew to get a PlayStation, and I tell you what, I loved it. So anyway, one night I went to his place for a sleepover, aka my mum and his mum going out on the town to get drunk and leaving us with a babysitter. Oh, that wasn't me complaining. We got to play games, and play games we did. He had this new one called, what was it again? Final Fantasy VII? What happened to the first 6? Yeah, I never heard of this series at this point, but I guess few Aussies did. The bit that I do remember is him walking around some grassy place, which I later worked out was the area around Calm. There were also these big ass chickens. I remember us laughing our asses off about how unproportionally large they were. Who knew that chocobos would turn out to be so awesome all these years later? I also remember Tifa at some point, but I probably didn't appreciate her as much as I would have another 8 years down the track. What else do I remember? Not a lot, but this was the first Final Fantasy and first RPG for me. A couple of years later, my dad came over to visit me from the US of A for the first time. He was cool, very cool, because he bought me a PlayStation. And no games. I did have this demo disc though. I remember playing Overboard, the game about fucking up ships with other ships. Remember that one? We also hired out Jurassic Park. Remember video stores and renting games? It was awesome. I was a Compsognathus because I sucked at this game and couldn't be anything cooler. All that a 10-year-old really wants to ever be is a T-Rex, not a Compsognathus. Then he left and I had a PlayStation with a demo disc of Overboard, where I fucked up ships with other ships. Yeah, I've never done that since. Oh yeah, now we're getting serious. Not long later, a certain game was released. The one, the only, Final Fantasy VIII. I kind of forgot about FF7 over the years, but reading about FF8 in a magazine totally got me pumped. I saved my money so hard. I did gardening, car washing, paper delivery, cooking crack, and all of that other stuff that gave me $1. Then the moment had come, the moment that I could buy FF8. But I wasn't a complete ass back then, that bit happened over time. I thought I'd return the favour. I invited Bob over to my place so we could experience FF8 together. OMG, it was awesome, and blood. I'm like 11 at this point, blood in the intro movie. This is so badass. All the girls are going to love me for playing this game. And just so we're clear, they did not. We played it a lot over this fateful weekend. I remember a few moments like the seed test and absolutely destroying the XATM 027, then not destroying it, then destroying it again, then not destroying it again, then getting fed up and just running. Then some total hot redhead with a machine gun. But for me, I think the best thing was that I had the game before him. Yeah, screw you, Bob, I'm a better gamer than you. So then I fell in love with something. It wasn't a girl, because they didn't think I was badass. It was Final Fantasy VIII. The characters, like the white Mike Tyson. His favourite food was hot dogs, so was mine. Seriously, this is sad, but I actually ordered hot dogs from the school canteen for like a year because Zell liked them too. And they were those shitty ones with the overly crusty buns, no cheese and lack of ketchup. But whatever. So yeah, this was it for me. 12 years old now and totally obsessed with the game. I didn't finish it straight away, not yet anyway. I clocked around 120 hours just wandering around, leveling up, talking to people, and this didn't even include the restart I did because I didn't really know how to play the game. I mean, I reached Sorceress Adel without knowing how to junction anything. The only thing that really convinced me to finish it was reading through a magazine in a store that had a walkthrough for the final dungeon. At this point, I held my chin up high and said to my mum, I am ready to beat FF8. There was a moment of silence. And then she said, "What?" With that complete lack of motherly support, I did it. I beat that Ultimecia bitch. I felt alive. I felt like I could take on the world. And I was still single at this point. I was ready to move on. My next step involved borrowing FF7 from someone. I can't remember, but I beat it. It was awesome, but I still liked FF8 more, probably because I played it first. At this point, there were no more FF games available on the PlayStation, and I didn't even know if there were other RPGs out there. I was lost for a few weeks wondering what to play. Then, the best thing ever happened. There was a family friend named Cristiano Ronaldo. Awesome guy, definitely not his real name. He lent me a game that I had never heard of. It was called Suikoden 2. What the hell is a Suikoden? And thanks for the feedback, guys. I am fully aware that it's pronounced Suikoden, but I have no desire of ever pronouncing it correctly. It turns out that this is the best series ever. I mean, it's amazing. There is no series in the history of gaming that I think is as powerful as the Suikoden series. Play it and love it. Why did it stop being a thing? It hurts me to this day. The good news is that I was able to use my Christmas and birthday funds to progress straight onto FF9 and Suikoden 1 after this. I couldn't have asked for a better start to my RPG journey. Shortly after this, I went on my first overseas holiday to a place called RPG Island. Well, that's what I thought of it. It's actually called Bali, which is a small Indonesian country that West Australians go to retreat. But my point is that it sold PlayStation games for about $1 each. At this point, I had no idea about the whole piracy thing. It seemed legit to me. I mean, the whole country was doing it. I asked the shop owners what games are like Final Fantasy, and they had no problem trying to sell me more than I could hold. I was in heaven. When I got home, I did not leave my room for what seemed like about 3 years, but that may be a bit of a stretch. So what was there? Breath of Fire 4, Chrono Cross, Harvest Moon, Lunar, Kudelka, The Legend of Dragoon, Valkyrie Profile, Wild Arms. Seriously, this system had the best RPGs ever. This was undoubtedly the golden age of RPGs. And I was still single. Yeah, there were some pretty decent RPGs post PS1 era, and I played most of the big titles for the PS2 and PS3, but I don't think anything came close to all of the powerhouse titles back in the day. In 2009, I wanted to try this old school game out that I never got around to playing. They called it Xenogears. Wow, what a gem. I was very late to this party, but better late than never, hey? Since then, I've just been playing a bit of everything. Some of my favourite titles released in the past 10 years include Valkyria Chronicles, Xenoblade Chronicles, Persona 5, Dark Souls, and The Witcher 3, which were all damn good. These days, I like to play a mix of old and new, even though I don't have as much time as I used to. Oh yeah, and I managed to score myself a wife somewhere in there. Probably around the time that I stopped eating hot dogs. This was Hellfire RPGs, thanks for watching, let me know how it all started for you. If you liked this video, hit like and subscribe for more RPG content. See you next time.
Like a